to ask you to sing happy birthday, you could probably do it very easily, right? But how? I mean, no one explained to you how to do it. And despite that, you know it. Now if I told you to write your name, you could probably do that too. Well, you and also 90% of the population under 15. That's about 1.8 billion people. Of course, someone did teach us how to do it. So there are about 2 billion people under 15. But what's 2 billion? Can't you imagine it? You probably think you can, but can you? For example, if we had 2 billion tangerines like this one, we would be able to fill about 110 Olympic pools and still have a bit left over for a snack. And if we stack them up, we could cover about half the distance from the Earth to the Moon. So that's just tangerines. With people, it's a whole other story. So, cook is already. So, 2 billion is definitely a very big number. And picturing it is really hard. So what do we simplify things a bit? Let's say the whole population under 15 were only 100 children and teens living in one village. In this town, there are 100 children. They can all probably sing happy birthday, but not all of them can write their name. And it shouldn't come as a surprise to you that not all of them have the same opportunities that you and I have. Of these 100 children, 13 of them are not attending school at all, and not learning the basis for living in today's society. And of the 87 that do attend, 26 don't have the minimal abilities for the greater coursing, mostly because of the flaws in some education systems. And of the whole 100 children in our town, only 52 ever finish their basic studies. And most of these people that don't graduate live in poor and rural areas or have an overall low economic status. And this creates a vicious cycle, where 48 of our villagers cannot learn the skills to grow and develop properly. And since they cannot acquire these skills, it is extremely difficult for them to get out of the situations that prevents them from learning these abilities in the first place. There's definitely a huge problem with today's education system, but what can it be done? And more importantly, what role do we play in all these changes? Well, it all comes down to making it easier for people to enjoy the right to education, to make quality education more accessible. And in great part, it's up to us to demand these changes, to demand education that prepares children and teens for the real world, an education that makes them better and stronger. If they can develop new abilities and learn new skills, they will be able to seek a better quality of life. And what's more, education lets people know about the situations they're in, if they're being oppressed, and how to battle for their rights. There are people undergoing horrible human rights violations, and they're simply not aware of this because that's all they've ever known. Education may give them a fighting chance, because it isn't only about knowing the names of the presidents, or learning how the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. It's about self-growth, about having a voice, and about getting the chance to make the world a better and kinder and more respectful and more inclusive place, not only for oneself, but for everyone. It's about empowerment, about individual freedom, about lifting ourselves up, and about developing as human beings and as a society. It's about raising our voices and giving someone else the chance to do it too, because knowledge is power.